This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And the road trip continues this weekend in Cincinnati. Game number 2, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Cincinnati Reds from the Great American Ballpark. And welcome to the broadcast booth with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds, Jim Hayes. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and it's great to have you with us as we get you set for baseball. The Reds have dropped 10 in a row, Jimmy. It is a very tough start to their season, but the Cardinals, it's been going well, and in many ways, everything clicking, and that includes the starting pitching.
Yeah, we keep saying they're playing complete games, and pretty much because of the pitching, the front of the staff has been pitching well, and the back of the bullpen has been pitching well, and they've been doing it kind of quietly because the offense has been taking over some of this punch and making headlines, but these guys right now are really holding it down.
And this afternoon, the Cardinals will face Tyler Mahle. And in terms of what they counter with, it's Dakota Hudson, Joey Votto, Tommy Pham, and the Reds taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Reds-Cardinals coming up on Bally Sports. Game set from the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. And for the Reds, they're still looking for their first win at home, and they're trying to pick a win up in their past 11 games. How about this? They are 0-10. The run differential has not been good. They don't lead ball games. The team average is just 177. The ERA is near 7. Cardinals will try to make it 11 losses in a row. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And brought to you by Real Steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com. It is the kids' opening day here at the Great American Ballpark. A lot of the youngsters are here to take in baseball. Game number 2, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. Cardinals come in with a record now of 8-4, and the Reds have lost now 10 in a row. Starting play here in game number 2, 10 in a row, and it doesn't happen very often. It does happen, but it doesn't happen very often, and it's been a rough stretch for David Bell and the Reds. For Ollie Marmol, his lineup today, Tommy Edman at the top, the switch hitter, then Paul Goldschmidt, Dylan Carlson. Another couple of hits last night for Nolan Arenado. Corey Dickerson will serve as the designated hitter. Lars Nootbaar, Harrison Bader, Paul DeYoung, and again catching, it'll be Andrew Kisner. It'll be the 98th career start for Tyler Mahle. So this guy was really good against the Cardinals last year. In 16 home starts since the beginning of 21. He has actually had an ERA that's close to 6, but when he's on the road, his ERA is under 3. So he has struggled here at this ballpark, and there's a look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Well, rightfully so. This place is a little bit of a hitter's ballpark, and you can see fastball, breaking ball, off speed, basically. Throws a little bit of everything, but he's got to spot it up if he wants to be successful, especially here, Danny. I think if you were just to stand here and look around, you would think this ballpark isn't very small, but it just plays small, especially down the lines and in the right center field gap, and I think that right center field gap gets you more than anything.
Well, David Bell has seen the Reds outscored 63-20 in their 10-game losing skid, and they haven't finished an inning with a lead in 90 innings since their last win on the 10th of April. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. Colin Moran, the former Pirate, at third, Farmer at short, Lopez, Votto on the right side, Garcia behind the plate. Tommy Pham, our old buddy, spent a number of years in St. Louis and in the Cardinals system, is in left. Nick Senzel and Tyler Naquin. That is the outfield. So here is the switch hitter, Tommy Edman. Off to a very nice start at .341, 3 home runs, and has driven in 7. Colin Moran playing in on the grass at third, shift on the right side. First pitch is strike, and we're underway.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here today too, and a pretty decent crowd. I wasn't expecting maybe so much, but I like it. Nice little breezy day, not too much humidity. Perfect day for baseball, as they used to say.
And a swing and a miss. It was 79 degrees last night, but you really wouldn't have known it by the offense because there were 19 hits in the ball game, no home runs, and you were looking at all singles. So ball was not traveling as much as you might expect on a warm night. That will travel to center field, and Nick Senzel, and the first out here in game 2.
Well, today, I don't know if I can remember correctly, but I think that those outfield flags, which are blowing pretty hard to left field, kind of dictate which way the wind's going to blow, especially if that ball gets up in the air, especially kind of in the center field area, not so much the left field, but it'll just keep carrying. And I think that's why too. It's usually a little breezy here off the river, and as far as I remember, the ball can fly here.
Here's Paul Goldschmidt. And that's popped back and fouled just to our right. Goldie with good numbers against Malley. 348 average, double, triple, home run. And Paul still in search of that elusive first home run of 2022. He'll get one, and then they'll probably come in bunches. Times he goes on those power stretches. Little flare into shallow right, and it drops in for a base hit. Lopez couldn't come up with it. And a one-out hit for St. Louis and Paul Goldschmidt.
This is that stretch where you just have to take whatever you can get. You know, you get jammed, get a ball off the end of the bat. You saw the other day Albert hit that ball. He got a little out in front, but as soon as he hit it, he knew he had a chance for a double. That's the other thing too. These guys are still play so deep, even in this small ballpark. The outfielders play so deep. Anything just blooping out there is going to fall.
There's Dylan Carlson. We've seen him chase a little bit more than we're accustomed to early portion of the season, and maybe you look up and you see you're hitting 196. You may chase a little bit more and put some of that pressure on yourself, but if he stays in the zone, usually he does a lot of damage.
Yeah, his key for him is notice that they're trying to maybe attack him a little bit inside early to get him inside conscious, and I think that just gets you a little bit sped up. He just has to stay on his toes and just remember to take those pitches. Don't try to do damage inside. They want to get him out in there, and he wants to get his hands out. So you can see right there, even those pitches in there, if you keep going in there after a while, it starts to speed up hitters, and then what happens, we always talk about it, you start chasing. You have to take those pitches. You have to recognize early and take.
A shift on the right side, a count of 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out and a runner at first on Dylan Carlson. The next to him. Check swing did not go. Laz Diaz, the home plate umpire. Brian O'Nora at first. Chad Fairchild, he's at second. And Shane Lavensparger is the umpire at third. Hitters count 2 balls, 1 strike. Outfield is straight away and deep. You see him flying open a little bit with that off speed.
That is, Danny, that is all just thinking that you're going to get pitched in. I think it's so hard to do, but the 2 things as a hitter to keep you from doing things that you don't want to do is, 1, you don't want to guess what's coming, and you really don't want to anticipate inside. And so you can't think ball, it's going to be a ball. So you have to be on your toes, ready to hit, but you can't anticipate what pitch you think is coming.
And the 2-2 popped up left side with 2 strikes. The third baseman, Moran, moved towards the shortstop position, and so
just did a heck of a favor right there for Dylan. He just moved probably 30 feet the pitch before or right after the pitch, and just put him probably just out of the reach of that ball right there. Thank you very much.
Dylan has struggled against Malley. He's 0 for 11 with 5 strikeouts. Tyler O'Neill, his number is not great against Malley, so he sits today, along with Pujols, Molina, and Sosa on the bench for St. Louis. And the next 2, Dylan, lined into the gap into right center, and Goldie will stop at second base. The line shot off the bat of Dylan Carlson. And back-to-back singles, and the last guy the Reds want to see come up in this spot is Nolan Arenado. 2 for 4 last night. He's hitting .413, .848 slug, and that is tops in all of baseball.
Say it doesn't get much hotter than him right now. What a day, huh?
Beautiful.
I feel like it's been a while since we've got to see sunshine, a nice grass field, clean, clear day.
No roof.
No roof.
So we had that in Milwaukee and then down in Miami.
And it's been cloudy and a little bit cold in St. Louis. So this is one of our better days so far this year.
And a pitch taken outside by Nolan Arenado. Malley made 4 starts against the Cardinals last year. The Reds beat the Cardinals in all 4 of those games, as he was 2-0, gave up 8 earned in 23 innings. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's a Reds team that has been decimated with injuries, and injuries to key players as well. They have gotten some good news. Lucas Sims joined their club, activated off the IL yesterday, and he might be their closer when they get those chances. 2 strikes on Nolan Arenado.
And that's what I mean right there. I mean, that's just Nolan looking for something special, but that's what I'm saying about anticipation right there. You can tell he was kind of thinking something else along the lines, and I think that's why people always ask, why does a hitter take a fastball right down the middle? And sometimes the thought process is just, I'm looking for something else right here because of the way I've been pitched before. And so sometimes you get locked up.
2 strikes on Nolan. Malley took the loss in his last start. That was Sunday out at Dodger Stadium. Gave up 7 runs in 3 2/3. No decision in his second start. That was against Cleveland. 4 runs in 4 innings, and beat the Braves on opening day. Went 5 innings in that start. The check swing did not go. And it evens it up, and now 2-2. This lineup, when it's right, and let's say you add an O'Neill in there too when he's going, this is where a first inning can be a long and a tough grind for the opposition and make them work. Already pitch number 17 coming up.
Yeah, it's funny how this.
The strikeout, the first of the afternoon.
I was going to say, it's funny how this lineup kind of just got built all of a sudden, and you looked at it on paper and went, whoa, it's going to be a pretty good team here.
Yeah. And it brings in Corey Dickerson. It's a rarity that if you have Molina and Albert Pujols on your roster over the last 18-19 years, that one of those guys is not in the lineup. And it's 2 days in a row that they have not appeared in the starting lineup against the Reds.
Well, I saw a note on that, and refresh my memory if you can remember, there was 2 times in the last however many years they played together since '04, and one Yachty came in and pinched hit, and the other, both of them did not play. So this is the 4th time never in the starting lineup together after all these years. But Yachty snuck in there for one of them.
So June 11th of '08 was the other time that, prior to last night, that Pujols or Molina were both not in the lineup in Cincinnati. And a fly ball that's hit to left, and Tommy Pham makes the catch. So the Cardinals will strand a pair. And Dakota Hudson to the mound for St. Louis when we come back. It really was a struggle just to get a chance to pitch into the 4th, which he did. Did not record an out, and that was against Milwaukee. And you see he, mechanically was out of whack, kind of pushing it. Jimmy didn't have a feel for the baseball.
Yeah, it's going to be that way, I think, and it's to be expected. He's 0-1 with a 7 ERA, but he's only thrown 7 innings this year, and so those 6 runs are really going to inflate that ERA. But if he goes out here today and throws up some 3 or 4 innings of nothing, that drops down. But what you're saying is one of those things when you get out there in competition again, you're still struggling to find maybe everything going with the with the intensity. It's easy to throw in the side. It's easy to throw in the Winter League. It's easy to throw over in the Arizona Fall League. But when you get out here, there's nothing else. You're out there by yourself, and you don't want to look bad. So all of a sudden, the 100% comes out, and it's sometimes hard to reach back and find that for the first couple outings. So we'll see how he does today.
Well, Dakota has not lost a decision against the Reds in his career. Overall, the Cardinals 6-2 in his starts. Naquin, Drury, and Pham here in the first, and then Joey Votto, Farmer, Senzel, Moran, Lopez, and Aramis Garcia, the catcher.
You really think about it, Danny. Since opening day of 2020, he's only thrown about 52 innings.
Right.
That's a long way to go and a lot of field to get back.
Well off the line, even with the bag, Nolan Arenado. And that pitch taken just a bit high, 2 balls and no strikes. So Naquin activated off the IL today. 8 games before going on it. Hit 3 doubles and a home run. And that's outside, 3-0.
It's a really good angle up here from this standpoint with this stadium. Really get a good shot from up here of mechanics. You see the ball come out of the hand. You're looking straight down on top of the pitcher and the catcher.
And 4 straight, and it's a leadoff walk. Toyota key to the game as we get a look at Dakota Hudson.
Well, I'm going to go with my key to the game today would be not to walk the leadoff hitter, but I started with today pitch ahead. We need him to get ahead. He needs himself to get ahead so he can spot some pitches, get comfortable, get some ground balls, and get a couple of zeros under his belt for a few innings. And then see if he can't settle into something he hasn't been doing much of in the last 3 years, which is getting out there and pitching.
There's Brandon Drury. He is the designated hitter today. And there's a strike.
It's a smart call right there by Kisner.
Just going to say that. Yep.
You got to get it. It's interesting, too, that the whole thing when Ankiel had his issues, right? He was throwing fastballs all over the place. And even when he wasn't throwing wild pitches, he was missing. And then Matheny would put down curveball. His mechanics were perfect. Boom, right down the middle.
Sometimes it's that pitch that just
stay back.
Gets you right. That's right.
Sorry to cut you off there.
Well, no, Rick has talked about it a lot when he was going through that if you are a young, he used to say this all the time, if you're a young pitcher out there, and when I say young, 17, 18 into college, but the best pitch, at least it was for him to get back on track, was the curveball. Now he had a great one, obviously, but he would stay back, and that got his mechanics back in line.
And he's not even talking about getting people out or doing that. You're just like what you said. You're talking about mechanics, because when you rush your curveball, you can get away with the fastball once in a while, but when you rush or if things aren't correct, your curveball is going to be all over the place. You have to kind of sit back, keep your weight balanced, and everything has to come together.
And it's 0-2.
So far, everything's been kind of up, except for that last pitch to Naquin. So he's got to really work on getting the ball down.
Tommy Pham on deck, 0-2. Hudson's last full season, he did lead the league in walks, so obviously that is of concern when you think about the type of success that Dakota can have, and that's line foul. Drury's a big guy, 6'2", 230 pounds. Was signed to a minor league contract prior to this season, invited to camp, and had a pretty good camp. Originally the Braves' 13th round selection of June 2010 draft, and he spent time with the Mets, Toronto, and Arizona. The 0-2 inside, and it's 1-2.
You talked about his walks, and that's the year his only really big year was in 19. He had a whole bunch of walks. He pitched 170 innings, 86 walks, but 130 strikeouts, and ERA still in the low 3. So, you know, even with the walks, he still gets out of jams, gets out of innings. I think that was the year when he had those 2 big outings in spring training where he got out of the bases loaded jam with nobody out. So it's there, and that's why you see him out there today, still only 27 years old. So he's got a lot of time left in his career. "33 starts that year. 32 starts, I'm sorry.
His debut was in July of 2018, and since that time, Dakota Hudson has the 5th best ground ball percentage in all of baseball. So gets those ground balls, and he gets 2 like this. Ground ball, 6-4 high throw, and it's off the dugout. So they do get the lead man, and then racing in was Naquin to second base.
You could just see that forming up here. Tommy just never really got squared up, and it looked like the ball just slipped out of his hand.
So 1 out, and the batter will be Tommy Pham.
You can see this just right as he gets rid of it, right there, it just slips. I think it's still interesting without the slide rule when you still see the second baseman rush like that. You know, you would think, and no knock on Tommy, he's a Gold Glove second baseman, but you would think they would just settle in behind the bag and throw the ball, you know, and let the bag stop the runner from sliding into him.
So Angel Hernandez in a game last night called a double play on a slide that he felt was not within the rule book. And if you looked at it, Jimmy, and any old school guy would say, are you kidding me? That's now a double play. And I mean, the runner wasn't even out of the lane. It was a little bit of a late slide, but that's how the game was played. Here's a 1-0 to Tommy Pham. Played parts of 5 seasons with the Cardinals beginning in 14. As he was a 16th round selection in 06. Then the Cardinals traded Tommy to Tampa Bay and got Genesis Cabrera, Justin Williams, Roel Ramirez was part of that deal as well. Always an interesting character, Tommy Pham. And this should be 2, 6-4, and that throws a little better.
Did you see?
3.
Look like he aimed downward.
Yes. So the double play behind Hudson, and there's no score. Visit to Busch Stadium, and you can buy and manage game tickets, unlock offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Lars Nootbaar, Harrison Bader, and Paul DeJong for St. Louis, and we are scoreless. Reds are trying to avoid an 11-game losing skid for the 3rd time in the last 8 seasons. That'd be the most by any team in that span. And if they would lose this game, it's their worst start in franchise history. So it's been a tough go. They haven't been home a lot because of the schedule, the way that it started. Traditionally, they always have the home opener, but that didn't happen this year when the first week was delayed. And it snowballs at 2 strikes on Lars Nootbaar, and there's David Bell. He was the Cardinals' assistant hitting coach in 14 and then was a bench coach 2015 through 17. And played 4 seasons with St. Louis. Nootbaar grounds it fair. Votto, nice play. Mahle to the bag, and that takes a hit away from Lars Nootbaar. Nice play, Joey Votto.
He can still play some defense. I think that's the one thing. Everyone is so worried about him hitting homers and too many walks and on base percentage. Kind of forget he's a pretty good first baseman.
He has won a Gold Glove.
I was going to say he's got at least a Gold Glove in there somewhere. Pretty good athlete.
He's 38 years young now and under contract this year and next season with an option for 2024, and that's Joey Votto. Harrison Bader at the plate. Shift on the left side. And room into left center, and that pitch taken for a ball. He's 4 for 8, couple of home runs against O'Malley.
One of the few, huh, in the lineup today that have a little bit of success.
Goldie's had a little success. Bader. But again, Malley and the Reds won those starts that he made last year, 4-0 in those starts, and he himself went 2-0. Now, the guy that's had really good success against him is Yadier Molina, and I thought he might be in the lineup today, but with the day game tomorrow and the Cardinals sending Adam Wainwright to the mound,
pretty good chance he's in there tomorrow.
I'd say he's in there tomorrow. Yeah, Yadi has 3 home runs and a .478 average against Malley.
There's the future Hall of Famer. You think?
Tell you what, when you're watching in the Cardinal dugout, I'm not sure there's a time I ever see Molina and Albert not together.
I think that's been the best thing for both of them right now, and you can see even when they struggle and they come back, they're talking, you know, that they're kind of there for each other, and that's, I mean, that's what you need. You need to have that one person that you're that close with, no matter what, is there for you. And that's sometimes with, you know, young teams and a blended team and a lot of guys up and down, you don't have that all the time. And I think that is one thing that Yadi and Albert can both benefit from, is that brothership that is, and they've always had it. And I mean, I think it's good for both of them. And then that's just going to spread, right? So Albert's going to go left, Yadi goes right, and then it just kind of grows.
Yep. Those two have been, I think, as happy as I've ever seen them. I really mean that. You get that feeling too?
Yeah, I think Albert's had some stuff off the field that has really taken a load off of his shoulders for him, and playing here, I think, being comfortable, having Yadi by his side, Waino, you know, I've talked to him a bunch, even at home, away from the field, so I think that he's kind of got his core back together being in St. Louis, and I think that's going to be, and that's kind of why I've always hinted, hey, heads up, don't sleep on him this year. He's, you know, I think he's going to be happier, he's going to be more productive, and he's going to play a lot more than we think.
Here's Paul DeYoung hitting 152. Short lead at first by Bader, and a strike. We were not on the air yesterday, but I am a day late with this on the air, as I do it every year. But happy birthday, Tom Parchomsky.
Oh,
Chomps. Been around the Cardinals organization many, many years. I believe he's closing in on over 3 decades. So happy birthday, Chomps. It's fouled back.
How many decades did you say?
3.
That's it?
What are you thinking, like 50 years? He's not that old.
I swear he's been around the ballpark for 50 years.
Well, that might be true. But that would take him back to his childhood days.
It's really funny because he just shows up in places where you don't think he'd be. You know,
like catching bullpens.
Yeah.
That's what I love. He can get you tickets to that night's game, get you in a suite, maybe throw out a first pitch, watch BP from the field, sell some advertising, and then get the equipment on and catch somebody that's on a rehab assignment in the bullpen.
Yeah, it's like in the first,
it's great.
An opening day, you know, he's down there in Aggie's office, and then the second day I come in, he's sitting next to you, and I'm like, wait, we're just downstairs. Can't keep it straight. Gotta love that guy.
He's the best. Always smiling, great with the customers, which are the fans. The 1-2 pitch to Paul DeYoung. Runner goes, and a throw down to second, and he's in there safely. The ball did beat him, but the tag not there because there was no baseball in the glove on the short hop.
I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a throw by Garcia. I thought Bader had it stolen easy, and all of a sudden the ball was right there on the bag.
Very quick.
Yeah, I just got rid of it. Just a little bit of a short hop. That's why I don't like the flimsy gloves. such a fine line between when you break in a glove, and you know this, of it having a little bit too much flex and then not enough.
The 2-2 fouled back.
You know who helped me break in my glove? So I mean, I think I would just have, just out of memory, a couple Gold Gloves before I got to St. Louis. And when I got here, J.D. Drew was breaking in a glove, and he completely changed my kind of glove I used, the way I broke it in, the pocket, everything. Right when I got here, halfway through the season, I switched, and after that, I felt more comfortable diving after balls, because, you know, do you remember the catch in Kansas City when I always used to reach in and make sure the ball was not going to come out? It's a long way to run for something and have it fall out of your glove. Like right there, that's like my biggest pet peeve right there, because he made a really nice play on it and then it just falls out. But he showed me how to break in the pocket without ruining the rest of the glove and loosening up the edges and the top where all the top of the web, so everything would stay in there. And I was thinking to myself, man, I've been playing for 8 years, and here comes J.D. Drew along, and he's just showed me how to basically change my whole defensive strategy with my glove.
Well, I've seen guys put the softball in the glove, tie it up. I've seen shaving cream. I've seen players take a hammer to their glove. I mean, I've seen it all.
It's funny. It's a lot of guys like them flat, and a lot of guys don't like them flat.
That's right.
So that's why you'll see them wrap them in a softball and put them in their bag. You know the story about me. The trainers used to carry mine. They would put it in the trunk because it would always get smashed, and there was nothing I could do, and I hated it. So I found a way to put it in the medical trunk in its little area. And I mean, not that I couldn't have put it somewhere else, but I thought, this is safe. I'll just put it here, and every day when I get to the next city, it'll be sitting in my chair. And Barry Weinberg took care of it for years and years and years. And it's just, you know, when you find something that works, you stick with it.
Here's Kisner at the plate. So another start for Andrew. Good start to his season. Home run, 5 driven in, and a .263 average. Runners at first and second.
Loves to go to that slider with guys on second base. You notice that when, as soon as Arenado got up there, she was kind of doing it to DeYoung a little bit, but now Kisner gets up there with guys in scoring position. He's going to try to stay away from him as much as possible. Go to that off speed, maybe run a fastball up.
The count of 1-2. Just a gorgeous day in the banks of the Ohio, the Great American Ballpark here in Cincinnati. Breezy but warm. Very, very pleasant. Opposition against Malley this year, 8 for 18 with runners in scoring position. And Kisner adding to it with a base hit into shallow right. Here comes Bader. He will score. 1-0 Cardinals on a little flare to right field off the bat of Andrew Kisner.
That's a great play all the way around, Danny. This is how it's done. If you're going to drive in runs, you got to be willing to get jammed. You have to stay in there and battle. And Harrison Bader gets a perfect read and a perfect jump off of second base. Tries to get inside on him. He just stays with it, fights it off, and Bader's gone. Just a great read.
That's also an understanding of watching. And you can see Bader, he was dancing around there, the balls of his feet, but understanding where the second baseman is, so immediately he knows that ball is going to get down.
Well, and the right fielder is on the track.
Right.
So, but you know what's really funny is, and you've seen this for years, that same scenario with really good base runners, and they still pause because the ball goes up in the air a little bit and they panic. That's just a really good read right there, knowing exactly and computing everything that's going on at the time. Too many people look back and panic for a split second, and then it might stop them from scoring.
Edman, a bouncer foul. Cardinals will wrap up this long 11-day, 10-game road trip tomorrow afternoon. We'll have it for you. Wainwright is on the mound, and then Monday the Mets come to St. Louis. And St. Louis native Max Scherzer on the mound for game 1 against Miles Michaelis. That should be a good one.
That should be some must-see TV, huh?
Yes.
Or in person.
I mentioned this earlier, one of the amazing numbers in this stretch for the Reds, but they haven't finished an inning with a lead in 90 innings coming into play. So, Jimmy, that's going back to April 10th, and now here you are. It's 1-0. This is when you can put a team down.
Yeah, this is when you, as a team, cannot get into the here we go again mode. And I think that I would say if we would have done the game last night and this was last night's game, I would say, well, the Cardinals are in town. They must give them a little extra something. But same thing as last night. So I don't know. Maybe this team right now is just really struggling. They can't find it. But clearly 10 in a row it's a lot of pressure on everyone.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Tommy Edman. Fly to center field in the leadoff spot this afternoon for the Cardinals. The 2-2. And Edman hits a fly ball into right. Naquin is over. That's DeYoung at second. He'll stay put. And 2 runners on. And 2 outs for Paul Goldschmidt.
Pretty good throw right there.
Goldschmidt with a base hit to right field his first time up. And Malley already at 45 pitches. What's interesting is that his numbers with runners in scoring position, there's only 4 at bats that he's had with runners in scoring position.
Somebody's taking him.
And that was the bottom of the lineup. That was a lot of Tommy Edman in the 9 position. Good take again by Goldie. He was swinging through that pitch in Miami.
Yeah, he wasn't seeing the ball very well, and for good reason. I think those last 2 guys that threw for Miami were pretty special. I think there's going to be a lot of noise from them this year, from those 2 pitchers that they had at the back end of that rotation, or at the top of that rotation actually, but the back end of that series. But I mean, you look at back-to-back guys like days and you think, man, this team's got a chance. They can put a couple other guys out there. That pitching staff is, I'd love to watch it, where they start, where they get in the middle, and then how they finish up, right? Because the maturity starts to show up kind of towards August, and that's when you see the younger teams start to fall off.
It looks like Malley really doesn't want anything to do with Goldie, even if that means loading it up for Dylan Carlson here. Take his chances.
Well, Goldie's been swinging through a lot, so maybe he's hoping that he would swing through, chase a little bit, and that's the whole thing, right? Throw him some pitches out of the zone, see if he'll chase. If he doesn't, go get the next guy.
3-1. Remember when the Cardinals acquired Paul Goldschmidt, they got one of the premier first basemen in the game, but they also got a guy that, when you looked at his numbers in the Central Division, Wrigley Field, Great American Ballpark, Pittsburgh, I mean, you're talking about really big numbers.
That's kind of interesting too, playing in the West.
Yes. The 3-1. On a 3-1 pitch, it is popped out. Playable for Joey Votto.
Oh, he's going to want that one back.
Yeah, it's a frustrating at bat right there for Goldie. Kisner, the base hit to right to score Bader, and the Cardinals have an early lead. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Danny, the Reds are off to a rough start, no question about that. They've lost 10 in a row. So to get some perspective, we decided to have a chat with our old friend Tommy Pham. Tommy told me this: it hasn't been easy. I've been lucky enough to play on winning ball clubs, but the truth is, and I don't like making excuses, we've been hit hard by the injury bug. It's testing us a lot in different ways, especially offensively, but we are getting healthier. Danny, I told Tommy his answer was pretty tame for someone so outspoken. He told me, wait, you think I'm outspoken? And he was serious.
There's Joey Votto. So the 38-year-old, I mentioned it earlier, under contract this year and next season, option for 24. And he has said that he wants to finish that contract as a Red. Does not want to be traded. He's now in his 16th season. Fabulous player. Led the league in on-base percentage 7 times. And yet he has never hit 40 home runs in a season. But once he's done, he will be considered one of the great Reds players in their long history, no doubt. Taken by Goldie to Hudson and the out. The ground ball out for Dakota Hudson. While we have a moment, quick word from St. Louis Children's.
St. Louis Children's Hospital, the only place where Washington University physicians have gathered from across the globe, discovering and developing life-changing treatments for kids.
There's Kyle Farmer, 260 the average, no homers, and he's driven in 7. And Tommy Pham is exactly right. I mean, they have been hit hard with the injury bug. Mike Minor has been hurt. Jonathan India missed time. Tyler Naquin, who's in the game now, was just activated from the IL. Mike Moustakas, he's been hurt. Tyler Stevenson is on the concussion injured list after a collision at the plate with Luke Voigt. So those are some of the names of players that would be everyday players right now for David Bell.
Well, you don't have your starters and you're not playing well. That's double pain right there. It's impossible to keep everyone healthy, but you hope when you fill in the holes, you're going to have got quality players, but then when you don't play well as a team, man, it really hurts. It just makes everyone around you, especially the guys that are hurt, feel more guilty and try to rush back, like you were saying the other day about timetables and rushing back, and a lot of people wanting to get back quicker.
And that hit him. So the 1-2 pitch runs in. He's got so much movement, Jimmy. And Hudson hits him with the 2-strike delivery.
Hudson's acting like he didn't hit him. Nicked his shirt.
Skip Schumacher and the Cardinals want to take a look at it. Had a great conversation with Skip the other day, and it's hard not to when you're talking to Skip Schumacher, one of the more likable people in our game, in our sport. But I said, does it feel like home to you coming back to St. Louis? And he said, first of all, it does. And secondly, he said, one of my biggest regrets with my wife is that we didn't decide to stay in St. Louis year round. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Good throw, goodbye. And Kisner guns down Farmer on the hit and run.
Check out Kisner right here. It's just a nice job. Ball is down. He digs it out right at the end. See the little fist pump too at the end. He's like, watch this. He knows what he's doing.
So Kisner catches Farmer, and it's 2 outs. 0-1 the count on Nick Senzel. Skip was saying it's the Midwestern values. It's how I was treated as a player by the community. He said, I regret that. He said, but in my stage of my career and the player I was, he said it would have been just my luck. I buy a house and then I get traded.
That's
so
what everyone was worried about.
Sure. You can understand why he didn't. The first strikeout for Dakota Hudson, a caught stealing for Andrew Kisner. And the Cardinals have a 1-0 lead as we move to the third. In the game, let's check out the T-Mobile coverage cam. Beautiful day here in Cincinnati. And one of the traditions that they have here at this ballpark is honoring a veteran, and there was a World War II vet that was honored, and a standing ovation for him. And I specifically looked down at Laz Diaz, who had his mask off and was clapping for the World War II vet because Laz Diaz, he himself served in the U.S. Marine Corps. He's a good guy. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to visit with him, but good guy. We had our This One's For You telecast, and he just happened to be on that game. And I went down to the umpire's room and talked about his service to our country, what the country means to him and his family of Cuban descent. So really for him, it's extra meaning to have the freedom that we enjoy.
You know, I've always appreciated it. He always works hard. back there. You know, you're not always going to get every call right, but he's always been out there working hard and honest with you. And he's one of those guys, if you challenge him as far as like the strike zone, he'll say, hey, go look at it and let me know.
So it's an open conversation, not one-sided.
I mean, I think he's out there trying to do the best he can instead of just being out there doing his own thing, you know?
Yes. There's a 1-2 pitch, and Carlson pulls it foul.
And you can see right there by that swing what happens when people start rushing you inside. You change your swing a little bit, you get out in front.
And again, another off-speed pitch. Had him out in front. Throw was wide just a bit, but they get Dylan Carlson for the first out here in the third. Kia player profile, Nolan Arenado in his career against Cincinnati. .331 the average, 17 home runs, and he's driven in 45. But you look at the OPS, on base plus slug of .992. And Jimmy, that is really good.
You think?
Yes, sir. A strike to Arenado, who struck out his first time up, and the only K for Malley here this afternoon.
It's kind of an unusual at bat too. You don't see him take a lot of pitches. He took a fastball middle away, like just right there to hit. You don't see him do that too often.
And a fly ball lifted into center. Over to his right, Nick Senzel. And that's out number 2. Corey Dickerson came up in the top of the first with runners at first and second and fly to left to end the threat. Cardinals were able to score in the second inning after back-to-back walks. Kisner a base hit into right to score Bader. And now Malley has gotten the first 2 here in the third. Off the plate, 2 balls and no strikes. Let's see if Dickerson can't cheat a little and get into one. Breaks his bat. Ground ball hit to Lopez. And he's 0 for 2 today. We're midway through 3 on the banks of the Ohio here in Cincinnati. And the Cardinals on top. Report, Drew Verhagen placed on the 10-day IL, right hip impingement. So the Cardinals have called up Packy Naughton, and he was selected by the Reds in the 9th round of 2017. Had 3 minor league seasons, and in 19 he was their minor league pitcher of the year, and then was traded to the Angels in the 2020 season for Brian Goodwin. And now Packy Naughton is up for St. Louis. Colin Moran, Alejo Lopez, and Aramis Garcia. 7, 8, 9. First pitch, a strike. Hudson walked the first man he saw in the game on 4 pitches. They got a force out and a double play last inning. Hit a man, but was erased on a caught stealing and mixed in a strikeout. Popped up as Kisner gives it a look, and it's out of play. Hudson is 1 strikeout away from 200 in his career. 0-2 the count. So Moran a number of seasons with the Pirates, and there was some talk that maybe the Cardinals had interest in Colin, but he winds up here with Cincinnati. He was a .295 hitter in his career with 7 homers against St. Louis.
The defense in the infield, it is pretty spread out into pull and back. You look at Arenado, he's basically up the middle for a shortstop, where a shortstop would be playing deep and up the middle. That's some serious pull right there.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs, and where these names are on your infield, that's not really where they're at right now.
Do we need a little swiper? You can just drag him around.
You got to be able to drag them around. Guys going here, they go there, but that's your defense.
You know how they have them in NASCAR when you have the little arrow on the cars? They would be going all over the place on our scoreboard, on our TV.
The called third strike in number 200 in the career of Dakota Hudson. He's got back-to-back Ks.
Little backdoor breaking ball. No? Oh, I thought that was like a little bad slider, but maybe a little changeup right there, huh?
I think it was changeup. Here's Lopez. He looks at a strike. So Hudson with 200 strikeouts, and Miguel Cabrera 3,000 hits. He got it today.
And I saw that his base hit to right, and I didn't see the count, but I was telling you, when I was playing when I was younger, I always saw Sports Center, so I would play guys sometimes accordingly to their highlights. I've seen him hit that same ball through the right side 5,000 times, I feel like, and they're playing him to pull. He just basically just hit it to second base, and you have yourself a free hit.
Felt that way with Albert. I mean, if you wanted to shift on him, he'd figure out where you're at, and if you were pitched outside, he'd take the ball to right, try to go in. He had the uncanny ability, best I've ever seen, Jimmy, of getting the hands in, but yet balls that are at his hip, he's able to keep those fair. It's just incredible how he was able to do that.
He just had a really good idea of what he could do, and without striding, makes him that much quicker. But he covered the outside part of the plate so well, and you're right, he could pull the hands in. And we showed that graphic the other day, that opening day home run where I think it was his first home run, how he pulled his hands in. The ball, I mean, the camera angle wasn't good, but the ball looked like it was 4 inches inside. But this is what I'm talking about. How many times have you seen this in the highlights? Like hundreds. And that's just a fastball down the middle. And if you get it down there, he's going to hit it on the ground, and he just hits it right where he normally does for a hit. Good for him. Congratulations, Miggy.
Do you know him well?
Not well, but well enough. I played against him a lot, obviously, and I remember when he was even with the Marlins, he was a young stud. And I remember Joe Girardi was a little kind of shaking his head one day, and I said, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Well, my young stud just walked and got in the car with all your older veteran players. That makes me nervous."
Is that right?
He meant like Yachty and Albert and those guys, and they were all going to dinner, but I just thought it was funny because he was all worried.
What a list. Albert Pujols is on this, and now it is Miguel Cabrera as well, but 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. Incredible players.
I played with 2 of those guys and against 3 or 4 of them.
That'll be the second walk issued by Hudson. One out walk, and it brings in Garcia.
How about the swing of Rafael Palmeiro? It was like I didn't even really have to play defense again. He never hit the ball to center field. He either looped the ball over the shortstop's head or hit it in the right field corner or in the seats. So smooth. It's funny when you see his name on there, like, you kind of forget about him a little bit, like what a great hitter he was.
A forgotten man because of what's happened post-playing career.
Still a great swing, great hitter. Made it look so easy.
Now Garcia hitting .286. Cardinals have turned a double play behind Hudson. And that's strike one.
By the way, he couldn't have been a nicer guy too on the baseball field. I mean, one of the most classiest guys on the field to opposing players I've ever met.
People forget he was with the Cubs at one point, then went down to Texas, Baltimore, and put it all together. The 1 pitch, Hudson to Garcia. The outfield straight away, and now time is called.
Yikes.
0-2. Garcia didn't like that. And a couple of words for Laz Diaz, but talk about it a lot. You're the catcher. It's a fine line when you're at the plate, how much you can talk. You got to get that for your guy.
You just have to say that right there. Hey, I need to have that pitch when I'm back here.
And to Hudson's credit, he goes right back to it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That would have been a really nice time for a slider right there. Felt like if he'd have thrown a slider middle away right there on the plate, he would have had to go after it right there. You know that outside the part of the plate is out there and it's bigger, especially when you take a couple of strikes out there.
Kisner kind of leaning towards that side. So from 0-2 now to a full count. And it was pitch number 40 for Hudson.
I mean, that's what makes this game so beautiful, right? You know what you have to do. It's just that hard to do it. It's hard to throw the ball where you want to every time, and it's hard to make contact with it when you know what's coming.
See if they want to start the runner. They do on 3-2, and it's lined down into the right field corner, slicing and foul. I would think with just about every 3-2 and a runner at first, you're David Bell. You got to start the runner.
Yeah, you got to get some kind of momentum going.
And avoid the double play, too.
What's the worst that can happen? Get thrown out and start the next inning again? You would almost rather see a strike him out and throw him out than a double play ball that just kind of rally kill.
Cincinnati in every aspect of their start, it's been a struggle. Runners in scoring position, average, not many home runs. The pitching is not been great, and it adds up to a 10-game losing skid coming into play today. 3-2 pitch, start the runner again, lined into center field and a base hit. Bader may have a shot at him. Throw to third and out at third. It's an outfield assist from Bader.
It was a great throw and it was a great idea, and he was just a tick slow too. It looked like he took a split second to make sure he was running, but he threw it right on the money.
David Bell says we will not challenge after Lopez was emphatic that he was safe. And Bader guns him down from center field.
You got to go. He's right there in front of you. Take a look at it. You keep it down. But the key to this throw is it's down and on the bag and just misses.
Ooh, boy.
Well, he slid past the bag.
That's what it was. Yep. Held the tag on him, I would assume, and that's what happened.
Almost like he swept him past the bag. Here you go, a little assist. Let me push you aside.
So that is a big, big play. Instead of first and third, and Naquin up, just one out. Now it's a runner at first and 2 away. Naquin walked his first time up. Broken bat, soft liner, caught by Nolan Arenado. The outfield assist from Harrison Bader sends us to the fourth. Nootbaar, Bader, DeYoung coming up. Station. That's using the My Phillips 66 app and get up to 50% off Cardinals tickets. And for more information, visit phillips66gas.com/Cardinals. Lars Nootbaar, Harrison Bader, and Paul DeYoung. The defense already has made their presence felt in this game. The Cardinals have turned a double play. You had the caught stealing by Kisner, and now the outfield assist by Bader. That is how you win games and become a winning team.
Well, we keep saying this over and over. They're playing complete games. It means every part of the team has been playing and doing their part. You get a little bit of pitching, a little bit of hitting, and a lot of defense. It's a pretty nice little recipe for series wins and start piling them up.
Yep.
Because that's what it's all about.
There's Nootbaar. He hit a ball sharply to first, and it was a good play by Votto to his left to take an extra base hit away. I think back to the early 2000s, really mid 2000s too, but those tremendous teams you were a part of, and you had Albert in his prime, yourself obviously, Scott Rowland, Yachty. It's not a surprise why you guys won a lot of games. I mean, you had very good offensive players in the MV3, but the one thing that you could count on was the defense every night.
Think about the turnover too, and maybe just the second base hole. You know,
that was kind of the surprising one, wasn't it?
We were talking about Grzelcyk, and then you had
Vigna there for a while. You had Tony Womack.
Right at the end for me. Kind of started throwing Schumacher in there,
and that'll be a base hit for Lars Nootbaar. Starting to swing it a little bit better.
Yeah, and Danny, I'm telling you, the ball off of his bat is a little bit louder than it is off of everyone else's for some reason. I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from.
So BP the other day, my partner Jim Edmonds is writing some notes down, and you had a sound just like that during BP. And you looked at me and you said, now hold on.
I haven't heard that in a while.
That's right. Who is that? And that was Lars Nootbaar, and you're right.
They used to talk about that with Big Mac. Different sound coming off the bat.
There's Bader. Walked, stole a base, and has scored the only run today. All kinds of room on the right side. Now, if you have a defensive alignment like this, and I understand Bader does pull the ball a lot, but do you think about a hit and run in this situation?
Yeah, I would. I would even think about pushing a bunt.
Yes.
I mean, gosh, all you have to do is push it. And Joey can't do everything, and the pitcher can't get to it.
Now, that's the one thing with the shift I don't understand. So then you pitch him away. Now
you're pitching into the spot. Well, they know that he's
going to reach and roll over.
And he does. That's his one drawback for Harry is does have that open stance, and sometimes he gets locked into pulling off the ball a little bit, and he'll go around it. That's why you see him top so many balls. But as soon as he starts to learn how to hit the ball in that hole, it's going to be a whole new game.
Tried a few times in spring training to push a bunt, to your point, to the right side, which then would negate the shift in at bats that would come up later. If you've got to be honest to that position, if he can bunt it that right side.
That ball is just middle in right there, and that a lot of right-handed hitters keep that ball fair, and his hand's just so quick, and he's open a little bit, and so that allows and when he turns with his shoulders, it just kind of makes his, it's like it makes his playing field is kind of like tilted way to the left, like like if he was in an open field with no lines, he'd be great, but that foul line is hurting him.
Start the runner and a strikeout, and Nootbaar is out at second. To double play, strike him out, throw him out, as the Cardinals will take a look. And strikeout number 2 for Malley.
They're going to challenge this.
So they're going to challenge the tag at second base and see if Nootbaar did beat the throw. A little high. Very close.
St. Louis is challenging the out call at second base.
Showing the replay here on the video board, and you can hear the fans kind of, well, I'm not so sure. It's really close.
It's a heck of a tag as late as, looks like he's safe. It's a heck of a tag. He got that tag down in a hurry because he was almost on the bag as the ball was hitting the glove, and he got it down quick. Yeah, he's safe. In super minute slow motion.
Newbar was 2 for 3 and stolen base attempts last year.
After review, the call has been overturned. It's safe. St. Louis retains their challenge.
Well, I thought he had it beat pretty easily, but like I said, the tag was applied so quickly, kind of changed the outcome a little bit for the umpire, I believe, and then you have to really go back and look at it.
There's Paul DeYoung, who walked his first time up. It was back-to-back walks issued by Malley in the second inning. And then Kisner picked up a single to right, and that brought in Harrison Bader. And that is our only run today. It's 1-0. Cardinals now with 4 hits. And it's a breaking ball time and again to see if DeYoung will chase.
How long is it going to be before we get a close play like that and the umpire just gives you like, I don't know, let's just go look at the replay?
Probably not too far away.
We're just wasting time. Let's go figure it out in real time. Let's go get the video out really fast.
Shadows are edging closer to home plate. The 1-0 is fouled back.
Good swing. That's the ball that's hurting him right there. He can't miss that ball. That ball's middle, and he's stuck in between guiding it to right center and letting it fly at the same time. And those foul balls are what's really, you know, keeping his average down.
So everything was away, and then they bust him in with the strike, and it's now 1-2.
He's going to go right back out there. I think that his strong side is on the left side of the plate. Almost looks like he kind of crossfires over there to that outside portion to the right-handers. You can see they take a lot of pitches out there.
Cardinals in the series 4 for 19 with runners in scoring position.
Right back in there.
That'll even it up at 2-2. DeYoung so far this season 2 for 9. Runners in scoring position, and the Cardinals today 1 for 5.
I used to say about Jake Arrieta when he was going good, the right-handed hitter said he looked like he was stepping in the first base dugout, throwing the ball 3 feet outside, and the next thing you know it was right on top of you. Same kind of look here, I think.
And a swing and a miss. A strikeout of DeYoung, and back-to-back Ks for Malley, and he's got 3 today. The batter will be Andrew Kisner. Kisner, the RBI, his 6th back in the second inning. Reminder, by the way, in that game on Monday, that is a 6:45 first pitch with the Mets in town and Michaelis and Scherzer. So get your seats. Should be fun to be back home and to see one of the game's best and a future Hall of Famer in Max Scherzer. And there's guys in that dugout saying, Dan, it ain't going to be fun. He's pretty tough.
It'd be a good challenge, though. I like those days.
I think guys,
you got to thrive on
love
that.
it.
Yeah, you got to thrive on that. Facing, especially that guy. He's just being a hometown guy, too, and just being he's one of those guys that you just got to appreciate. Just wearing it all out. Like a Jake Peavy, right? You watch him, and if you were like an opposing fan, you probably hated him. But as a player, you would do anything to play behind that guy. Greatest guy, hard-working, wore everything on his sleeve. It's kind of what I think that's kind of what Scherzer's like.
Intense.
I love watching PV pitch, man. It's the same guy, same kind of person.
Ground ball that's hit to Lopez at second. Cardinals strand their 5th runner of the day. We are midway through 4. It's game 2 here in Cincinnati. Mayhem moments. Right on the money at second. Bader right on the money at third. And the game's best defense has been on display here early on in game 2.
Great job, Ollie.
Well, he has done a nice job so far. Cardinals are 8-4. And you hit it on the head, Jimmy. You try to win series. It's great to get a sweep. You don't want to lose a series, but you try to win them. Cardinals split the 4 games in Milwaukee. Tight series, too. Take 2 of 3 in a game in which Alcantara was great in game 2. But you get him out of there and you win it in the 9th, and the home run hit by Arenado. They win last night and up 1-0 here in game 2 with Waino going tomorrow.
I always thought it was a brilliant thing the way Tony approached it, because it took your focus off losing a game. You know, it takes the focus off of throwing a game away in the middle of a series and saying, okay, well, listen, the whole goal is to win 2 out of 3, so let's just come back tomorrow and let's just seal the deal. And that literally, I think, prevented you from riding a bad loss into another loss into another loss, because you really think about it, that's just to turn the page. Okay, you gave it to him. We won the first one. Now let's win the third one.
2 balls and no strikes. Brandon Drury, Tommy Pham, and Joey Votto for Cincinnati. The way that this season has gone for the Cardinals, it's been interesting. I mean, you know, your first 6 games, Cardinals had 36 runs, but they've scored 18 in the last 6 as the starting pitching is settled in. Starting pitching was a little rough first week, but now that is settled. And then the other part of this, though, is the bullpen from day one has been really good. And your defense, really good. So it gives you a chance to win. And the 3-1 pitch. Pulled foul, full count. So the Cardinals trying to have their best 13-game start in the last 40 seasons. And that'll be the 3rd walk by Dakota Hudson, and it brings in Tommy Pham. Back by popular demand, the Puffy Vest giveaway returns to Busch Stadium April 29th. Cardinals and Diamondbacks. That night, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older take home their very own Puffy Vest, courtesy of Bayer. Great seats remain at cardinals.com/promotions. Pham hit into a 6-4-3 double play. First time up, and his second time up, he hits into a 6-4-3 double play. That's the way things have been going for Tommy Pham. He had like 1 or 2 hits in about his first 30 at bats, and he feels he's starting to hit the ball hard, and he's done that twice, but on the ground and right to Paul DeYoung.
Yeah, I think Tommy's just one of those guys that, you know, he gets himself in a funk a little bit with, he'll go out of his zone a little bit too much and chase pitches, and he's one of those guys, if you kind of run the sinker away and have it come back over the plate, he wants to pull everything, and so you get around the ball a little bit and you see the ground ball to short back-to-back times.
Shady from the sun, it is Bader, an 8-pitch inning, even though it included a walk, but the double play. 1-0 ball on Bally Sports Midwest, brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Cardinals, and by St. Louis Children's, only St. Louis Children's, Missouri's #1 pediatric hospital. I don't know if you've ever had the pleasure, Jimmy, to stop by the Reds Hall of Fame. Very, very well done. They moved into this new ballpark. I say new, it's not new anymore, but Not the old one that we saw for many, many years, but that's part of the experience of coming to the Great American Ballpark is their Hall of Fame. And like the Cardinals, they have a rich history, Major League Baseball. Tommy Edman, top of the lineup for St. Louis. First pitch swinging, hit down the left field line and out of play.
Well, it's amazing as you keep coming back here. And it's funny on TV, I think, if you ever turn on the game, it looks like St. Louis from the TV looking at the home plate area. But just like even when we walked in today, they keep redoing it and keep cleaning it and making it nicer. They have a new area up here in the, not for us, but for the fans, a new area to eat in. And so I think it's a great ballpark.
So what they did to our left, as we are sitting behind home plate, that was the writer's press box to our left, and now that is more of a club and buffet and that kind of thing, all-inclusive area.
Probably not great for the writers, but for the fans.
And there it is. That's used to be the writer's press box, and that's been moved down the third base left field line.
It's beautiful, though, isn't it?
I just think
you got off the elevator and you went, where do we go?
Yeah, we haven't been here since 2019, and it
looks a little different.
I ran into our buddy John back there, and I said, "What's going on? Where do we go?" I said, "Did our booth move? What do we have to do?" The 1-2. But this ballpark, to me,
I can hear.
I do. I enjoy it, and probably it's because there's just been a lot of memorable Cardinal moments at this ballpark. The 2-2. We had the great comeback, and it was capped off by the Mabry home run to center. Your catch in center. And I've said this to folks, and that's the new press box for the writers, but that's the best catch I've ever seen in my life in person. And there's been comeback wins. I think of Matt Adams, a couple of home runs that he hit here. One of those was late, and that'll get out of play. And it's also a rivalry that for the better part of the time that they've been in this ballpark, and you had Dusty Baker too and Tony, but it's been fun. It's a spirited rivalry.
Well, and then I look at this side for me now, and everyone back here behind the scenes is awesome. Everywhere you go, people remember that you played. People know who you are. They take care of you. It's very easy to get around up here, in and out of the stadium. It's not like that everywhere, and it's just it's a friendly atmosphere on both sides. Being a player, even being a fan, being a player, and now up here in the booth. But I do. I enjoy playing here. I enjoy talking here, and I enjoy being here with you.
Good at bat by Tommy Edman. Well, we have a moment. Quick word from Great Southern Bank.
Did your favorite song move you a little too much? Hey, it happens. When it's time for a breather, you can turn your debit card on or off right from your phone with the Great Southern mobile app, all without missing a beat.
The right-hander Art Warren throwing in the Reds bullpen. Pitch number 86 coming up for Goldie, and his first home run as well. Next at bat.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
He tried.
Shallow right. I thought he's going to jump all over that. You know what's interesting is Goldie's using the knob that we've talked about, kind of the hockey knob. Joey Votto's using that this year too. So you're talking about some of the best hitters in the game looking for any edge as they advance. Goldie, 34, Votto 38. You get older, maybe it's a way to, try to. They talk about barreling it up, and that's what they're looking to do.
Yeah, I just thought I think it's interesting too, because when I was a younger boy, my dad obviously was involved in baseball, and he was always asking me, why does the closer got to pitch in the ninth? Why don't you get a bigger knob at the end to counterbalance this? And now all the things he's saying is happening, but that was 25 years ago. But it makes sense too, because the heavier the bat, the better the wood, and so if you can cut a bigger piece of wood or a heavier piece of wood into a bat, then it's obviously going to be harder, but you can only have so much weight there. So if you get a little bit of the end to counterbalance, the barrel, then maybe there's something there. Because if you have to get X bat size a piece of wood, let's say a block of wood, and it's got to come out to be 32 ounces. You have to fine tune it, and if you can be 33 ounces but the barrel's the same, then you might have a better piece of wood.
Base hit into right off the bat of Carlson. Tommy Edman easily into third, and runners at the corners, and the second single for Carlson this afternoon. Beats the shift.
Yeah, I think this might be a changeup right here that he finally just gets enough of to get it through the infield, but they've been pitching him in and then giving him off speed away. You can see right there, though, the Dylan Carlson that struggles is the one on his heels, and you can see that swing right there, a little bit on his heel. He's just getting a little open, a little quick. And that was the one thing he struggled with, I think it was last year. And then when he got up on his toes, he took off. And so that's another thing he's got to keep an eye on. But getting that base hit right there is huge.
So with Malley at 88 pitches and Arenado coming up, runners at first and third, David Bell will go to his pen. 1-0 our score, and a chance to add on for St. Louis when we come back. Their Golden defense catch up with Jordan Walker and hug it out with Yadi, Waino, and Albert. The newest Cardinals insider tomorrow at 11:30 right here on Bally Sports Midwest. I believe at 11 too. As I like to call it, it is the Fredbird Show featuring Brad Thompson.
You know what? Ozzy's been in there a few times, and I was thinking there's no way that was Ozzy's show because you wouldn't have said it like that. So I was waiting for you to say featuring Brad Thompson.
Here is Art Warren.
He's got a new best friend.
And Art pitched at the University of Cincinnati and also Ashland University. He's with Seattle in 2019. He appeared in 3 games last year with the Reds and was 3-0 in 26 games. So Warren is in, and he's got Nolan Arenado coming up. And Nolan has struck out and flied out 0 for 2.
He's got a good fastball, 95, 96. But just a slider. So to the lefties, he's fastball slider, and to the righties, he's fastball slider. He didn't pick up on that quick enough for me. So.
Oh, I did.
He just gave me the nod, like I know where you're going.
Just let you finish. So Carlson is at first, Edman at third. Arenado fouls it back. Something we probably should mention more and more is just how well, for the most part, generally speaking, the Cardinals are also running the bases. And what I mean by that, first to third. They're going first to third an awful lot this year.
Well, they do a nice job. They got good team speed. They got good athletes running the bases, and every team so far that we played, the outfield is playing on the track. So that's a great combination.
1-0 our score. Arenado came up with 2 runners on in the first and struck out. And a check on Dylan Carlson. The bullpen of Cincinnati, 33 walks, and that's tied with Texas at the start of play today for the most in baseball. 3rd highest ERA in the National League, and 7 home runs allowed. That's most in the senior circuit. The 0-1 pitch to Nolan Arenado. Backs up for a ball inside.
What I like right there is Arenado's day so far with the strikeout and the fly ball to center that was, shallow center field. That first pitch, he kind of leaned out over the plate thinking, okay, relievers in the game, throw a lot of sliders. He didn't wait. He didn't cheat. Didn't open up. He really dove out there and tried to hit a ball into right center field, and that shows me that he's trying to make adjustments during the day.
Came right at him with the fastball at 94. And so Nolan Arenado in the hole with a ball in 2 strikes.
But you know what I mean? You got a guy on third. You know he's not going to just throw you a heater to hit. So you think, all right, I'm just going to make sure I cover. And that gives you both. That gives you the fastball away and the slider away. And if he throws you a fastball in, you have to take it.
Outfield straight away and deep. The 1-2 pitch.
Little survival mode right there, huh?
Nolan 4 for 11 with a double. 3 walks with runners in scoring position in this first month. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got in just enough, but Nolan fights it off. Stays 1-2. The check swing, he went. 0 for 3 today. And it brings in Corey Dickerson. So Warren gets a key strikeout. The Cardinals have struck out 4 times today. And now they need a 2-out base hit. We haven't seen that very often from Nolan Arenado. The strikeouts have been down, and even the other night, remember, he struck out in that game, and then boom, at the end he hits the 2-run homer, and that's the difference.
I thought they were way down this year, weren't they? Only just a few.
Now Dickerson goes the other way, and it's a base hit. And Corey Dickerson makes it a 2-0 St. Louis lead with a 2-out single to left. That's a big hit midway through this game.
You just pulled that right out of my mouth. That is a huge hit right there. Not only for the team, but for Dickerson himself.
So Tommy Edman comes around to score. Both runs have been scored by guys that walked in this game, the Chevy pitch tracks. And now it's Lars Nootbaar, who stung the ball twice today. First time he was robbed by Votto and then picked up a base hit. And that pitch taken in. 2-0 St. Louis. Two on, 2 outs. A ball and a strike.
That shadow's going to start really coming into play here any second. As soon as that pitcher gets all the way into the shade, it's probably already affecting the hitter a little bit with spin.
Staying put, Carlson at second. You know, the Cardinals are taking extra bases, so first to third, those type of situations 55% of the time, and that is 6th most in baseball. That's aggressive. And now David Bell and the medical team looking at Aramis Garcia.
Yeah, he kind of pulled his, he grabbed his right leg after the pitch when he scooted. Right there.
Sometimes too that can be a cramp.
Yeah. Just don't like to see when they. It's funny too, because who's the hottest guy as far as body temperature on the field between him and the pitcher? That's it. And you know, when you're sliding around back there all the time, you don't expect it, but it just goes to show you the force of their, you know, the movement, especially for those guys going side to side.
Also a hot day too. That's another way to look at it.
That's where the cramp was coming involved with the.
Yep. This has been one of the warmer days that they've had. And you're not used to it coming from.
First time.
Yeah.
Since spring training, I guess you would imagine it's been cold every day except for the last couple days of spring.
Reds are in Goodyear, Arizona, where they train. And let's see if Nootbaar can't get into one right here. The 3-1 pitch. Runners off with the next pitch as he went with a breaking ball on 3-1. If he does that, does he do it on 3-2?
Lots of sliders. I think he's basically going to be a slider guy with runners in scoring position. 74% of the time just to right-handers in general, but so nothing but them to Newt.
3-2. Chop to Votto. And Warren to the bag. Cardinals strand a pair, but they get a 2-out single to left by Corey Dickerson. And it's a 2-0 Cardinals lead.
Cardinals lead it 2-0. Albert Pujols is having a blast in his final season. He's also posting some pretty good offensive numbers too. Albert says what he is enjoying the most is helping out the young players. He told me these guys are not afraid to ask questions, and I enjoy that because I love this game. When I was a young player, I asked a lot of questions of Placido Polanco and Edgar Renteria. Albert said, I'm having fun, but my #1 job in this, my last year, it's to help the younger players. They are the future of this organization. Dan, all the young guys say having Albert around has been great.
What a shock, and there comes Yadi right when Jim finishes up the report. They're right next to each other, and there was Skip Schumacher, part of a couple of championships in 06 and 11. And he mentioned to me the other day, Skip said, it's just incredible to see these guys still playing. And I think back to when I was in the minor leagues. Adam Wainwright and I were coming up through the minor league system, and now here he is still pitching, and I guess I'm his coach, he said. And he said, though, but we have been the best of friends for a long time, and it's really been special to see everybody back together.
Do you remember they used to prank each other right at the end?
Oh, yeah, all the time. So history was made today with Miguel Cabrera with hit number 3,000. Albert has that, obviously. And a look at these two tremendous hitters, and really, for their generation, the best right-handed hitters in the last, what do you think, 2 decades, I would have to say.
Yeah, for sure. What's funny, too, is Mickey's kind of done it really quietly. I mean, think about the places he's played, you know. Miami and Detroit. Just kind of quietly just puts it together every year. Not a lot of fanfare. He's a real quiet guy. You never see a lot of emotion from him, except for the time he got in the fight. Other than that, he's just kind of just goes and does his thing.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Nick Senzel. Whacks it down into the corner and right. And that ball is down. One hop off the fence. And Senzel is now 3 for 27 to begin his season. She picks up a 1-out double. And just the second hit for the Reds in this ball game.
Yeah, a little slider that just had a big hump in it. Almost more of a breaking ball that you see as a hitter. Talk about that little jump out of the hand when you throw the breaking ball. When you see that as a hitter, that slows your body down and gives you a great idea of what's coming.
There's Colin Moran, called out on strikes, back in the third. Well, the Reds have given up 16 hits to the Cardinals so far in this series, and all of them have been singles.
That's the way you got to do it if you're going to give up lots of hits and keep them from rounding the bases, huh? Jeez.
Cincinnati was 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position last night. Now they have their first runner at second base here today. Pitch count pretty efficient here for Hudson. It's only at 57.
A couple ground balls really got him out of trouble today so far. Just has so much natural movement. It's really hard for him to keep the ball in the strike zone. Just got to, keep pressing away. That's the thing. Is like a guy like this doesn't really always need to make pitches. He just needs to throw it up there and let it do its thing. And when you're up there on the mound, that's kind of hard mentally to say, hey, I just got to throw this up there and let it do its thing. Because then you think, well, if one time that it doesn't, it's going to get whacked.
That's right. That's why I always think it's interesting to see where either Yadi or Kisner with Dakota Hudson when they set up. And there are some sinker ballers that will tell you when they have this kind of movement, just set up right behind the plate. Be right in the middle of the plate. Yeah.
Don't ask them to do too much. Don't try to get in and out and all creative. Just kind of let him do his thing.
Cardinals with a big shift on the right side. And it's now a count of 3-0. Now time called. To make sure they're on the same page here. Cardinals, one of the teams now not using the pitch comm, and that's the electric system, if you will, that the catcher just punches up what the call is, and then it is given verbally, Spanish or English, from the cap in the pitcher. Also, there are fielders that have it, and the Reds are one of the teams that is using that, and they love it. Especially, they've heard more from the fielders than they have even the pitchers.
That's what they said Kansas City was doing. And I just really think that that is a good thing. It can't be anything negative about that for your defense. Yeah, I think everyone should have it. I mean, you know, think about, if you're playing in a game and you have a really good team up the middle, the shortstop and your second baseman are telling your third baseman and first baseman when breaking ball's coming. Center fielder can be telling the right fielder or the left fielder when fastball or breaking ball's coming. So why not just everyone know? And that way you can just, everyone can creep in the same direction. Saw that play by Colton Wong the other day when he kind of started cheating a little bit, and then he made a great play. But it's just like it can't do anything but benefit your defense.
So the Cardinals now with 2 strikes put DeYoung on the shortstop side of the bag. The umpire moves on the other side, and that's hit down the left field line and out of play. A byproduct, and I was mentioning this with Brad last week, and a byproduct that they're seeing in baseball, though, it's really sped up the hitter. So the sign is given, the pitcher's got it, and
ready to go.
Batter,
huh?
Yeah, the batter feels rushed. They're not used to that.
It's always going to be something. You get a pitch clock and got this and you got that, can't get out of the box, and now everyone's moving quicker, and now it's, but sometimes it is, it's I don't know what it is, but sometimes you get in that box and you're uncomfortable.
Comes back and gets him in a strikeout, and that's number 3.
I don't know why it'd be uncomfortable. I mean, guys are only throwing 98 at your head. Sometimes.
I wonder what Tim McCarver would think of pitch comm.
Depends if he could read it or not.
Well, all you got to do is hear it.
No, I mean, he has to push the fingers.
Yeah, okay.
Push the buttons.
I mean, what are we doing?
You got no time for that.
Here's Lopez, and he looks at a strike.
You'd probably say that by the time you think of it, look for your hand, push the button, you could have already given the sign.
Mm-hmm. Lopez 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position coming into this plate appearance, and a strikeout as Hudson takes a look at Senzel.
You see Nolan kind of looking around, and this is what good players do. Look at him right now. He's trying to figure out where the sun is, what ball is going to be here. Actually, he just took off his glasses because the ball now will probably be elevated enough for him to get underneath it if it's at his side. But you could see him kind of looking like, and the sun's going to be right, kind of looking dead at him. Look at his shadow. It's right behind him. So that sun is right in his face. But see that right there? So he's just making sure, okay, if the ball goes here, I have to move. But guys don't like to play with sunglasses on their head if they don't need them.
Here's a 1-1. Sawed him off in a foul ball. Nolan's got the flip glasses.
Yeah.
That's the old school.
But you still don't want them on your face, you know, on your nose if you don't need them. So it's like, if it's not a necessity, he's one of those old school guys. I was the same way. I just didn't like the vision. I didn't want to see anything else other than what I needed to see unless I really needed the glasses and the sun was in my eyes.
He's constantly fidgeting, moving.
That's why he's such a good player.
Yep. Off the plate, and that will make it a 2-2 count.
But if you watch him, I mean, if you really watch him, he does everything that you think as a good player would do, right? He keeps checking the sun. He keeps looking, where's the foul line? Where am I at on the dirt? You know, where's everyone at? He'll look around. He looks behind him. He looks at the center fielder. He watches the runner. He knows where everyone is, what the count is, what the idea is. He's watching now. He's looking for the sign. He knows exactly what's going on throughout this whole entire field, and that's the way you have to be if you want to be an elite defender. And watch, if you look at him again, he'll go right back through it again, right? He'll be sweating like nobody's business, right? It's hot out there. He's one of the last guys in the sun, except for the left fielder and the center fielder. But he just never, his head just never, he never looks down. He never looks in the stands. He's always just paying attention to everybody else.
The 2-2 and a ground ball. Hudson lets it go. There's Tommy Edman with a backhand. And the Reds strand their second of the day. Bader, DeYoung, Kisner coming up. Adam Wainwright tomorrow. Sunday afternoon in Cincy. Cardinals will face a lefty, so Albert more than likely is in the lineup. Adam will be on the mound, and Yachty behind the plates. Our Budweiser, what's on tap? Now a game summary as we move to the top of the sixth, and the Cardinals leading 2-0. Hudson is through 5. Kisner picked up the first run batted in the game. Tyler Mahle went 4 1/3. Nick Senzel has a hit. And it's 2-0 St. Louis.
So far, so good for Dakota. 69 pitches.
Lucas Sims, the right-hander, this will be somebody that will definitely help their bullpen when he's right. But he returned from a rehab assignment, reinstated from the 10-day injured list. And he started the season on that list after back spasms disrupted his spring, so he was shut down. Last year, career high in wins, appearances, saves, and strikeouts. In the last 55 batters he saw, he did not walk a man. TJ Antone is recovering from Tommy John surgery, and that young man is nasty. And that was a big loss for Cincinnati. Bader has walked and scored today. Stole a base and struck out. Third baseman, that's Moran. He's playing in, and that's chopped foul. Well, we mentioned how we like to come to this ballpark. Another aspect, too, is that, yes, there's a lot of red in the seats. It's the Reds. But you have a lot of Cardinal fans, especially in the weekend dates in the summer. School is out, and you'll see a ton of Cardinal fans that are here in Cincinnati. The 1-2. Bader yanks it down the left field line and foul.
See what I mean about that? His playing field is like more like from second base to third base, and really gets those hands through the baseball and around it a lot. He needs to really learn. Over time it's getting there, but the quicker he does it, the better he's going to become. Really can stay in the middle of the field a little bit more. He's really working hard on it. It's just not that easy.
Grounder left side. Moran settles, high throw, and out. Stubby immediately pointing to the Cardinal dugout, saying, well, make sure. He said that was awfully close. Ollie taking a look at it, but they will not challenge. And the first out here in the sixth, at least not yet. And away we go.
A little Spanish for you.
Here's Paul DeYoung. He has walked and struck out 0 for 1. Sosa picked up the start last night. And Paulie trying to get a little traction as we move forward. 0-1.
Good pitch.
It's no balls and 2 strikes. The 0-2. I will say this, the numbers haven't been there, but that pitch, not swinging through it nearly as much.
No, and you can see, though, he's starting to get a little jumpy again. You can always tell with him when he starts to really get out of that crouch, when he starts to take pitches. He's just a little uncomfortable. You see right there.
And they ring him up and a strikeout. So he did go after that one, and Sims has his first strikeout of the day. Next Friday, truck on down to Busch Stadium. Grateful Dead night. Purchase of a special themed ticket. You receive a Grateful Dead tie-dye baseball jersey. Come early. Pre-game performance by St. Louis's favorite Dead tribute band, Jake's Leg, and tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
I don't know why, but it makes my day every time you say Jake's Leg.
Well, you ought to go see him next Friday and get your theme ticket. You'll be enthralled.
I'll be working, but I would like to do that. I'd like to see what Jake's Leg's all about.
2 outs. And Kisner 1 for 2 at a base hit to right and a run batted in, his 6th of the year. And he'll send that to center. Senzel misplays it. Hit right at him and couldn't figure out if it was going to be short or go long. Got over his head, and that'll be a double for Andrew Kisner.
I saw that coming. Did you not hear the ball off the bat? It was loud, and I think he's going to get surprised by this. And he kind of I thought he hit this ball. Actually, I thought this ball was going to hit the wall when he hit it. And so when he was kind of watching it coming in and out of the shadows, I think he just lost it. But that's just straight backspin right there. Kisner's really shortened up this year a lot. He's got his hands really close to his body. He doesn't have any extra movement. He's been able to stay on all kinds of different pitches. You can see the average is already climbing above what he normally is at. He's done a really nice job so far this year. Another guy that made a big adjustment in the offseason.
Played winter ball. How many guys that are, I'm not saying he's an established major league player, but he knew he'd be on the big league club more than likely, and goes down and plays winter ball to try to get at bats and improve, stay sharp. There's the 0-1.
I just like when
hit him. Hit him.
When guys make a change and it comes out on the positive side.
So runners at first and second, and the misplay by Senzel looms large now with the middle of the lineup coming up. You got Goldschmidt, Carlson, Arenado. But 2 outs and Goldie at the plate, and he's 1 for 3. When things aren't going well, this is when at times you can bury a team.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that right there. Ball up and in. Tommy, 2 outs and a base open.
And a foul ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Not a ton of activity in this game. A 2-0 St. Louis lead. Cardinals about hit the Reds 7-2. RBIs by Kisner and Dickerson. The 1-1. Just a lazy Saturday afternoon in the Queen City ball game.
Yep. Still a little fired up about that pitch to Edman. Sorry.
Hey, you can be fired up.
I think there was a little purpose behind that. Or a little carelessness.
Any reasons as to why that may happen?
No. Pitching around him. Waking somebody up. didn't have to throw him a strike. The thing that bothers me a little bit about it is the situation, and they'd rather have to go after Goldie. He's struggling, but the cutter. And he knew it was going to chase him.
The 2-2. Left center. And off the wall. 2 runs will score. Goldie on his way to second. He's driven in 5 on the year. And that will extend the St. Louis lead on a ball that Jeff's kept on carrying out towards left center. And that's where the wind is blowing off the wall. Almost picked up a home run. And the Cardinals have picked up a 4-0 lead.
That's exactly what you needed right there after that hit by pitch. Great job by Goldie. He just stayed on it. And you're right. He got that ball up into the wind. Look at a short swing. The ball is carrying now. That ball just kept going. You're right. You see the outfielders running, and they're just not really running for it. They're just waiting for it to bounce off the wall.
Boy, how big is that misplay now by Senzel in center? After that, Edman hit by the pitch, and then you bring in Goldie, and he makes him pay. Such a fine line, Jimmy, as you well know, at this level.
Yep.
You got to make the plays. Because these guys are too good. They will make you pay.
Well, you just have to, the chances of you making bad pitches, pitch after pitch after pitch after, you're making pitches that you don't need to be making, and the longer you're out there, the more chance you have to make a bad pitch.
Spinning and making the play and getting Carlson is Lopez. Paul Goldschmidt with a double off the wall in left center. That scores Kisner and Edman. The Cardinals have extended their lead. It's 4-0. BJC Healthcare difference maker Dakota Hudson for St. Louis, and thus far he is through 5, no runs. He's allowed 2 hits. Cardinals have turned a pair of double plays behind him. Does have 3 walks on the day, but the defense has really helped him out this afternoon. The BJC Healthcare difference maker, and it's Dakota Hudson as we roll into the home half of the 6th.
A couple of those ground ball double plays couldn't have happened at a better time, huh?
Yeah. Pitch number 70 and a strike. If he's efficient, it has one of those quick innings. Be interesting to see if Ali wants to push him, try to get the pitch count up, stretch him out even further. Good off speed. 0-2. Aramis Garcia walked. And then you have Naquin and Drury. The 0-2. Grounder. Nolan Arenado up with it. And the first out. Jimmy, I know that your kids, they can get a little chilly at Busch Stadium on those cold spring nights. So that's why on Sunday you're going to bring them down. And you're going to get the Cardinals fleece blanket thanks to the Pasta House. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Super Fleece Sunday.
You got it.
We will be here
a week from tomorrow.
In the
fleece blanket. Tyler Naquin, top of the lineup. That's what you like to see. Pumping strikes.
Well, this makes me think of you bundled up at Wrigley a couple years back.
Ooh, that was a cold one.
Could have used that fleece blanket.
Ooh. Not sure though that was as cold. Might have been as the opener in Pittsburgh a few years ago.
Well,
when they didn't realize they had left the AC on and it was
from the year before
34 degrees with the air conditioning in an open booth. That was chilly. Here's a 1-1.
We're going to have to replicate the picture of you and I standing up against the window the next time we go there.
So
coming up soon.
And so what would happen is that between innings, my partner, Jim Edmonds, and myself
go out in the hallway
and put our cheeks both. And that's a fly ball out to left that carries into the corner, and a nice play made by Lars Nootbaar. We're talking about the wind blowing that way, and a nice play down deep into the corner by Nootbaar.
And that ball carried forever. I bet you he ran 50 feet further than he thought he had to. Watch this. That ball should have probably landed right there.
Well, that's a good play.
It's hard to stay with it. You know, it's like, even though you know it goes up in the air and you know that wind's blowing, your brain is telling you, hey, this ball's supposed to be coming down. I've done this 4,000 times, and it just keeps going and going and going. And then at the same time, he's at least, thank you very much, running away from the sun and not towards it.
So we would have to, between innings, put our backside and front side up against the glass that had the sun hitting it.
And just think about in the winters in St. Louis, when you have your house has windows facing the west at the end of the day, and it's 13 degrees outside, but that room is 80 degrees because of the sun coming in. You and I were pressed up against the glass trying to warm up.
I think that game went into extra innings, too.
And that was when I walked in, I thought, why is this heater blowing? And I reached down and went, man, cold air is coming out of this thing.
Oh, that was cold.
It felt like the elevator shaft. And then I turned around, and lo and behold, the air was on 40 degrees.
The 2-0 popped out. Goldie.
Watch this.
Yeah, he's under it, and he knew it too. I mean, you could see how he was
could have gone really foul, and
that's right
there.
Well, Hudson looks good. We're through 6. Arenado, Dickerson, Nootbaar coming up. Cardinals baseball brought to you by CarShield. CarShield cars go farther. And by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Well, you have a lefty on the mound. That's the statue of the late great Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. And so this is where you're going to use Albert Pujols. They carry one lefty in their bullpen. And it's a guy that's been around forever, Justin Wilson. And he was acquired last season from the Yankees. But he was really good for a while in Pittsburgh. He's been with the Yankees, Detroit, Cubs, Mets, Yankees again, and now Cincinnati. And so the Cardinals are going to have Pujols pinch hit for Dickerson, and he's on deck, and this is Nolan Arenado. 1 ball and 1 strike. Arenado 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts and also fly to center.
Pretty good changeup right there, following a fastball right at him, but the sheet doesn't say he throws a changeup, so maybe a new pitch.
When you're around for a long time, and that's, you got to get creative.
10 years now, huh?
Yep.
This is his 10th or 11th year. Just looking at that 500 and something games. That's a lot of pitching. A couple of 60 and 70 appearance seasons. Durable. .526 games.
One ball and 2 strikes on Nolan Arenado. Hit up the middle and a base hit, and it brings in Albert Pujols.
You know, I was just thinking, I think you're doing Arenado a favor right there by bringing in a lefty. Maybe really think about it. This has got to be a hard spot for him coming into games like this, with especially on the road with people cheering, and you know, it's almost like you're coming into the 9th inning to pinch hit to win the game.
Pujols has carried over to what they saw last year against left-handed pitching. 6 for 9, 2 home runs, 2 doubles. Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. 1 ball, no strikes with a runner at first. The thing is, if you're Ollie, though, you got to find a spot for him. He's going to play tomorrow with a lefty starter, and they only have one lefty in the bullpen. So if you're going to use him, this is it.
Got to believe it's tough to see out there right now, too. So kind of just hope you get a pitch to hit over the middle of the plate. Don't have to battle too hard for an at-bat here.
The 2-0. Pujols hits into a double play. Out there, and the turn. High throw, but Votto down on the bag. It's a double play. 5-4-3. While we have a moment, quick word from Tickets for Less.
Tickets for Less. For a better ticketing experience. Best seats, best prices, and no surprises at checkout.
So 2 outs and Lars Nootbaar. The first pitch taken low and outside. Nootbaar hit the ball hard all 3 times he's been up today. Has a single to show for it. 1 for 3. So stole a base back in the 4th inning. And the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, first time he hit the ball down the line, and Votto made a nice play on him. So about the 2nd inning.
No activity in the St. Louis bullpen. The 2-0. 2-1. Left-handers 2 for 6 so far this year against Wilson. The 2 hits, couple of doubles. Wanted it outside, caught inside, and inside the strike zone as well to even it up at 2-2. Never looks pretty when the catcher has to reach for it like that. The 2-2, trying to go back in and tapped foul.
Telling you, it's got to be tough to see up there right now with that backdrop super shiny. Even the boat up there is, look at that. You could watch a pitch come live at that angle. You would wonder, how do they even see it? It's incredible.
The 2-2. Strikeout of Nootbaar. Time to stretch on this Saturday afternoon. Pujols hits into the double play, and Hudson back to work.
4-0. Tyler O'Neill not starting today as Ollie Marmol gives him a mental health day, which he's been doing with a number of his players. Tyler is carrying an 0 for 13, and he has been busy trying to make adjustments. He told me, I'm working on a couple of timing issues. I'm kind of in between right now and trying my best to get out. As for those changes Jimmy Edmonds had talked about, Tyler told me, I scrapped a mechanical thought process at the plate and now focus on just being comfortable. Sometimes it's a toe tap or a leg kick. It all depends on the pitcher. But Danny, Tyler doing everything he can to bounce back. He thinks he will shortly.
Oh, yeah, we'll see him back in there tomorrow. And here's Tommy Pham, and again hits a hard hit grounder right to DeYoung. The other 2 resulted in double plays. That would have been his 3rd if somebody was on.
All 3 of them hit pretty hard, too.
Yeah.
Just right on top of the ball, straight at the shortstop. He hasn't really even had to move.
Votto was asked why he changed the knob of his bat to the hockey puck knob that we talked about, and he said it's about control. He said if you go back to a couple of years ago when I used to choke up, that was about trying to control the bat. He had always used, and remember, he had almost 8,500 appearances with a bat that was 34-32, 34 inches, 32 ounces. And that is tapped foul. And now it's 36 inches with that distinctive knob of the bat. And the most hits active players. He is in the top 5 and trailing Yadier Molina.
I'm curious to see what the weight is now, because like I said, you can't get a bigger bat with the lighter weight because you will get less wood. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will get a lighter, kind of softer bat. You know what's funny is just looking at the TV. If you don't look at any of the numbers, you just watch his his last two swings that he's taken today, you could tell Joey Votto's in a slump. Just doesn't look like Joey Votto. You know, he's kind of like diving at the ball, but yet his body's pulling off at the same time. You know, see right there that's not Joey Votto. That swing, you can kind of see him twisting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of like he gets himself into a C shape where like your body's going at the ball, but your butt's kind of going out, and then your chest is going over. See that angle right there he creates a little bit? And that's just, you're not in sync. It's like you want to get your hands out there, or your body's telling you, do you want to get your hands out of the way, and you're trying to get your hands through the ball, but your body's not letting you.
Pitch taken high, and it's 3-2 on Votto.
There's a young 16-year-old at home. His name is Landon Edmonds, who gets in the same situation, and I've been pounding him on the head. He cannot hit going in two different directions. See how he gets around the ball so much? That's not Joey Votto. Usually hits that ball foul. He yanks it up in the upper deck, foul, and missiles, right? And he's just barely clipping the top of the ball because his arms are going around and his legs are going towards third, and his arms and body are going towards first.
Pitch number 87 from Hudson. Swing and a miss and a strikeout of Votto. And that's 4 today for Dakota Hudson, and he's allowed just 2 hits. Hitless day for the Cincinnati first baseman Joey Votto.
It's a good pitch right here. Just nothing but, like we said, just throw strikes. Look at all that movement. Probably comes out of his hand, looks like it's going almost right at you, and just kind of sinks right back towards the plate.
There's Kyle Farmer, hit by a pitch, then was caught stealing back in inning number 2 and grounded back to Dakota Hudson. 2 outs and nobody on, and the first pitch taken for a ball inside. Two and 0. So pitch number 90 coming up for Hudson. Up and in. Farmer, versatile player for David Bell. Today he's had short. Play first, third, and second. Even had him in the outfield every once in a while too. And the 3-0 pitch. A strike, 3-1. Matthew Liberatore today. Top starter at Memphis, strikes out 9 in 7 innings. Memphis right now is 9-8. They're playing Omaha. And he walked him. So 4 strikeouts and now 4 walks. That may be it for him. We'll see. 6 is a serious number with On the Run. And thanks to our friends at On the Run, you could purchase $6 tickets or $16 field box seats for the April 25th through May 2nd homestand. And that's got the Mets, the Diamondbacks, and the Royals. It's a makeup game with Kansas City. All you have to do is visit Cardinals.com/6. So the 2-out walk, that'll be it for Hudson. Cardinal fans applaud him as he pitches deep into this ball game. 4-0 St. Louis. Coming up later tonight, coverage starts at 8:30. Your home of the Blues, Bally Sports Midwest, also streaming on the app. Blues and Coyotes coming up at 8:30. Andre Palante into the ball game for St. Louis. Our Chevy called to the pen. Last time out, it was 2 scoreless innings, and that was the game that Miles Michaelis started. Cardinals eventually won late with the 2-run homer hit by Nolan Arenado. Struck out 3, and the thing that Ollie was saying to me was that what impressed him was it was a tight spot. Want to see what he's got. Can you handle that? But he said the thing that was most impressive, Yadi was calling, a breaking ball, a slider, and a 3-0 count, and then 2-1. He's behind in the count. Can he throw secondary pitches for strikes, which is really a separator when you think about it
at the big league level, for sure. And he did a nice job too, because a couple of times he threw in a spot where he needed to throw the breaking ball and he missed, and he was able to come right back and throw it again.
Senzel looks at a breaking ball and a strike. He's got that funky delivery too.
He looks like he's a little bit closed off towards the right-hander, and I like the fact that he's got it's a little short arm, but with 95, he's got a little pop, and then that curveball's not like a big curveball. Kind of just comes up there and it falls down. It's not like it's jumping out of his hand. See, it's got break, but it's not it doesn't really jump up high where the hitter can see it.
No balls and 2 strikes. Senzel, who is 1 for 2.
So it's like a sharp breaking ball, not a big breaking ball.
Bullpen so far only 12 earned in 50 innings, 3rd best in all of baseball. And the 0-2 pitch struck him out. 3 pitches, and Senzel strikes out. The Reds have left 3 on. Palante gets the final out here in the 7th, and it's 4-0. The Cardinals not to be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals with a lead of 4-0. Hunter Strickland is into the ball game. So Ollie there with Mike Maddox as they think about how to navigate the final couple of innings, what direction they want to go. Strickland, we've seen him primarily in the National League with San Francisco, last year with Milwaukee. He's pitched for Tampa Bay. Signed a 1-year deal with Cincinnati in the offseason. It's 7, 8, and 9. Bader, DeYoung, and Kisner for the Cardinals. And a strike. The check swing did not go. The Cardinals picked up a run in the 2nd inning. That was the base hit by Kisner into right that scored Harrison Bader. Cardinals then in the 5th got a 2-out RBI single to left from Corey Dickerson. That was a pick-me-up there because the previous batter was Arenado, who struck out with runners at the corners and only 1 down. And then you think about that 6th inning. First 2 retired, Bader, DeYoung. And then the double by Kisner that gets over Senzel. Ball that should have been caught. Edman was hit by a pitch, and Goldie made him pay with a double off the wall, and all that done with 2 outs.
Couldn't have come at a better time, too.
2-2 the count.
Strickland's got a nice arm, doesn't he?
Always has had that.
33 years old, still throwing 97.
Head to head, Bader 1 for 3 against Hunter Strickland. The 2-2 pitch. 3-2. A lot of counts have gone deep today in this ball game, both sides.
It's interesting you say that too. I was thinking the same thing earlier and forgot about it. I would love to see the amount of pitches thrown today after this game is over, just to kind of compare it. A lot of big counts.
Inside, and that's either going to hit him or ball 4, but regardless, runner at first here at the top of the 8th. So Bader on base for the second time. And here's DeYoung, who is walked and struck out twice. No one throwing in the St. Louis bullpen after Palante struck out Senzel on 3 pitches. Outfield deep, they are straight away. And Bader back to the bag safely.
I love it.
Malley, Warren, Sims, Wilson, and now Strickland. And another check on Bader with his 2-step lead.
95 to first.
And the first 2 to Young. Getting a steady diet of those breaking balls, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Runner goes. That's Bader. Throw down to second. He's in there safely. Harrison Bader with the stolen base, his second in this ball game.
Tell you what, Garcia gets the ball down to second base in a hurry.
It's like that hard slide there that took him into Lopez, covering the bag.
Bader's a big boy. People don't realize how big he is.
The count of 2-1. Put together is what you're saying, Jimmy.
Put together.
Trying to sneak in behind Bader. Now the 2-1 pitch. Fouled back by DeYoung. And a count of 2-2. Tommy, our fine director today, Brian Shapiro, Brian McCann, Keith O'Brien, and his assistant, Keith Oberman, all helping with our crew today. The 2-2 taken high.
I was surprised to see Barry Larkin here today. Thought that was pretty interesting. Didn't realize he was around as much doing games, but just hadn't seen him in a while. And it's like, you know, when Hall of Famers come walking in the room, you kind of get your attention a little bit. Yeah. I was like, hey.
Here's a 3-2 pitch to DeYoung. Bader dancing out there at second, and he struck him out. Third time that DeYoung is struck out. There he is, the Hall of Famer Barry Larkin.
Stud, huh? Good dude. It was like every time you saw a Reds game, it was just that staple out at short.
Could hit, could run, could field. And if not for Ozzie, he'd have a lot more hardware in that Gold Glove department. There's Kisner. Bader at second. 2-hit day for Andrew. And a pitch in the dirt and a ball. Foul back, 1 ball and 1 strike.
See that right there? See the hands? Everything's smooth, and just kind of a little bit of a leg kick, staying up tall, just getting the bat through the zone. The thing I like about it too is in the past it was hard for him to stay up the middle, you know, and it's hard for guys to go the other way because they want to get the head out so fast. And right now it looks like he's just trying to time it and hit it, you know. No more worrying about where it goes. Just kind of square up anything you can. And it's like he's just standing there comfortable right now. The ball comes out of the hand. I'm just going to hit it.
Thought Bader might try this. He does, and safe. Could see him. He was timing it up the entire time once he got to second base. That's his 3rd steal. And why not? You're up by 4. It's late. Sack fly, make it 5. Now the Reds have to bring their infield in. He'd been dancing out there and timing him up the entire time.
Great job. I mean, that's just perfect, though. You know, you said it's too bad we just can't watch him there the whole time. We were watching it, but you know, he'd dance, and then he wouldn't pick up the foot, so you stop.
Right.
Do it again. He doesn't pick up the foot, you stop. And when the timing's perfect, you go. And if you're a young player trying to steal a base, if you don't get that first step, then you just got to stop.
And that's also Pop Warner, the Cardinal third base coach, looking at literally hours and hours of film on the relievers and saying, okay, we might have a tell with this, or he likes to do this in this spot. And this count, he's thinking this. That's how much they have this down, and the work and the preparation that's put into a situation like that. 3-1 pitch. 3-2.
Good pitch. That's nasty right there. You got 97 in the back and little slider 3-1, especially for a young player who's just looking dead red. I bet you if you asked him when he went back to the dugout, he would tell you he probably didn't even see that pitch. Swinging out of the hand, as they say.
Bader down at third base, and a count full, and now a walk. So Strickland has walked 2 in the inning. And here comes the top of the lineup in Tommy Edman. We were on the bus the other day, Jimmy, and getting in late. I said to Pop, I said, you know, give me how many guys you've gone through right now. And he said, well, I've got about 3 more relievers to look at. And he said, that'll probably take me 4 to 5 hours to get through every pitch that they've thrown or tendencies.
Pretty much what it is.
Last year, what are they doing in spring training? They're just trying to figure out some little tell, or a lot of times, as you know, guys will go in a pattern. So 1,000, 2 1,000, you know, they're to the plate. So that's all part of this, and these coaches deserve a ton of credit.
I think I sat in a meeting one time where he was talking about he had watched a guy throw out of the stretch with a runner on second base 37 times, and every time but one he did this. 37 different. So imagine how long it took for 37 different times for a guy to get to second base off a reliever who only pitches every couple days.
Sure.
So a lot of work.
Edman has flied to center, flied to right, walked and scored, and was hit by a pitch and scored. Middle infield is back just a bit. Corners are in. And the 1-0 pitch to Tommy Edman. Here it comes. Edman, base hit into right. It's 5-0. Scoring easily, Harrison Bader, and he deserves a ton of credit for run number 5 for the Cardinals. 2 steals as he went 3-2, drew the walk, and he scores for the Cardinals, his 2nd run and their 5th overall.
They pretty much manufactured that run all by himself.
RBI number 8 for Tommy Edman.
You see that the Reds didn't really play the shift on Tommy like some other teams do.
First and second for Paul Goldschmidt. 2 hits today. And I thought maybe the key hit in the game. Goldie coming up. Inning that you could see it going the wrong direction for Cincinnati. The misplay. Then a hit batter, and Goldie hit one off the wall, and that scored 2. 1 out, 2 on, and a 1-0 pitch to Paul Goldschmidt. Two and 0. It's the Cardinals' first 3-steal game since Carlos Beltran did it back in 2012, and now Bader has 3 stolen bases. How about that? Long time. 2-0. 2-1. The 2-1 pitch popped up.
This ought to be interesting.
Infield fly, so the catch is made by Votto. And while we have a moment, quick word from Rally House.
Play ball, St. Louis. Shop the latest in Cardinals style with your favorite brands and throwback designs. Rally House has gear for every fan.
Two-hit day, Dylan Carlson. He's also twice grounded out to second. And a look at the defensive alignment with a shift on the right side. Jake Woodford is alive and still in the Cardinal pen. Haven't seen him, and he's starting to throw now. Kept in front, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, what do you do if you're David Bell? You're down 5-0, now looking at what could be your 11th consecutive loss. It is early in the season, and you've managed 2 hits in the game. Cardinals have received 5 walks in the game. They've hit a man. I mean, the misplay in center, not a lot going right.
I mean, what can you do? That's tough. You know, that's out of the manager's hands a little bit, right? Miscues and misplays and injuries.
Signed an extension at the end of last season. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Dylan Carlson. Ground ball slowly hit Votto. Rough start for David Bell here in Cincinnati in 2022.
Brad Thompson, Scott Warman with you from our Ballpark Village studios. After the game, we'll have Cardinals Live. And BT, I know you love the afternoon from Dakota Hudson.
Tell you what, that's what he needed to see. That's what everybody needed to see. Using that sinker, getting tons of ground balls. He looked good. Offense is spreading the love around. It's been a good game so far.
All coming up on Cardinals Live after the game as we send it back to Danny and Jimmy and Cincy.
I'm telling you, if that doesn't pump you up, nothing will. BT, excitement, getting it done, ground balls.
I think one of the things they need to look at is the pitching numbers of the starters on this trip. Either do that in the postgame or the pregame tomorrow.
You could aggregate that, right?
Sure.
Is that a word that I thought I heard in there?
Here's
Stouty.
Here's Palante.
Way to go, BT. Firing me up.
Palante will get the first out here in the 8th as Moran grounds out, and he is 0 for 3. Just 2 hits in the lineup for Cincinnati. Palante came in with a runner on, and Senzel, the bottom of the 7th, was up, struck him out on 3 pitches. There's Lopez, who has walked and also grounded out. And there's a strike. And a fly ball into right. Carlson won't get there. He's able to knock it down. kept it in front, and Lopez in with a base hit.
That's a tough play right there for Dylan. Looked like he might have had a chance to catch it. Just a sinking liner. Kind of just got down before he could get there. Curveball, then he hit a topspin curveball back at him. All you can do there is make sure you keep it in front.
Cardinals behind Dakota Hudson, who went 6 2/3. They were able to turn a couple of double plays, and now it's Aramis Garcia. Pitch taken low. Cardinals trying to go to 5 games above the 500 mark here early on. And the 1-1. Good pitch in, and it's fouled away. Jimmy, if the Cardinals win this game, Cincinnati would already be 8 out. 8 out.
It's not good.
Tomorrow it's April 24th.
Well, better April 24th than August 24th.
Missed in. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Still trying to think of a reason I would use the word aggregate.
There's plenty of them.
Pitching.
And the 2-2 in the air right side. Playable. Foul territory for Paul Goldschmidt.
Pretty good look at that wind right there, huh?
See that coming back into the field of play.
That's why I'm saying, like, your brain is telling you one thing. You know, you've seen it a million times, and yet the wind is blowing it back, and so you have to react because it takes a few times to realize, hey, this isn't going to go there. But I've seen this play so many times, I know where it's going to go over there, but where is it going to end up?
Tyler Naquin walked, hit a soft liner to third, and also flied out to left. Cardinals about hit the Reds 10-3, and they lead it 5-0 with Adam Wainwright going tomorrow, and what shaping up to potentially be a sweep for St. Louis. The chance at it if they can get the final 4 outs here. Waino, surprisingly, he's 10-15 against the Reds. Only losing record against any opponent in which he's at least recorded 1 decision. So he's below 500 and 10-15 against Cincinnati after all these years.
I'll push him back a day then.
Let him pitch it home.
Yeah.
A ball and a strike on Tyler Naquin.
Good try right there with the breaking ball.
2-1. Line to foul. Thank goodness that screen is there. Wow.
That is some kind of foul ball right there. That was a line drive in the stands. And you're right. That screen's not there. That is trouble.
Makes me think, for all these years, what were we thinking by not having that up? The 2-2 pitch to Tyler Naquin. Jammed him. Hit slowly to Nolan Arenado. Palante able to get 4 outs. Good work. 5-0 as we head to the 9th. Getting close to setting here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Beautiful shot there downtown. 5-0 our score. Nolan Arenado, Albert Pujols, and Lars Nootbaar for St. Louis. Dauri Moreta, 7 1/3 so far this season. Well, there's so many positives to talk about in this game and really on this road trip. What you've gotten out of Michaelis, Mets, obviously today Dakota Hudson, that is big. You get that all year, this team is going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, I just, consistency of obviously the starting rotation and the bullpen right now have just been awesome to watch. And just like I said earlier, complete games, right? Base running, hitting, defense. If you can get pitching on top of any of that, you're going to be way ahead of the game.
I mean, think about the game that Bader has had. No hits, but 3 steals, 2 walks, 2 runs scored, and an outfield assist.
That's what it's all about, helping your team any way you can.
I mean, that's a winning player.
Yep.
Going to the count on Nolan Arenado. Arenado today with a base hit. A couple of strikeouts, fly to center. And the 1-2 pitch struck him out. No argument from Nolan, and it brings in Albert Pujols. Seven extra base hits shy of Stan the Man for 3rd all-time in baseball history. 5 hits to go into the top 10 all-time in the history of the game. And needs 10 total bases to reach and tie the great Willie Mays. Now the first pitch popped up. And Albert 0 for 2 today.
Looked like that might have been right in his wheelhouse. I think that young man just told him that too.
I think he said maybe you want that one back.
Thank you very much, is what he said.
Here's Lars Nootbaar. A single and a stolen base today, 1 for 4. And the first pitch taken just a bit low.
That was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that he got, though. That isn't the that's not putting on a tee right there for you.
Two 2-0 the count. Moreta from the Dominican, 3-0. Was the Reds minor league pitcher of the year last season. Also an all-star, as he made an appearance last year at 4 of them coming up late. 3 2/3. And a 3-0 pitch right down central. Lefties are 1 for 8 against this right-hander so far this year. Drury, Pham, and Votto due up for the Reds. Their half of the ninth. Full count on Newbar. Pulled the string and a strikeout of Lars Newbar. Bottom of the ninth rolls in when we come back, and the Cardinals leading this one 5-0. Since as a starter, Dakota Hudson had a chance at a win September of 2020, and Dakota, our Budweiser player of the game, 6 2/3, couple of hits, walked 4, struck out 4. He had 92 pitches on the day. First man he saw, 4 pitches was a walk, and then just settled in. StatCast powered by Google Cloud, and the distribution of what he did with 8 groundouts, 4 flyouts, and the strikeouts as well.
I think that's just going to be like that typical Dakota Hudson day right there. Kind of just unassuming, kind of a little bit all over the place, and then next thing you know, you're out of the inning, and you're out of the next inning, and you're on to the 5th and 6th. Quietly just goes about his business, and when he gets in trouble, he can go to that ground ball. We saw him get those big outs with sliders a couple years ago with the bases loaded and nobody out. So he's got weapons, and it's just going to get better from here.
Chevy called to the pen, and it is Cody Whitley. And the first pitch, a broken bat popped up into shallow left as Arenado got the bat, and DeYoung got the ball.
A little skate save by the left foot of Arenado on the bat. That's another one. Something's up, huh? I don't think I've saw as many bats break in the last 2 years as I've seen this year already. It's just a good pitch, but wow.
How about Andre Palmonte and the job that he did today, not to be overlooked? He had 16 pitches. Majority of those were strikes, and was able to get 4 outs efficiently. He just kind of moving up a little bit when you think of importance and what he could bring to the Cardinal bullpen.
Well, it's just nice when you get a young guy that comes on the scene and you put him in spots like that, and he goes through, and, you know, he pitches well, and then you throw him back out there and he pitches well again. And if you do that early, you're going to have some innings in front of you for the rest of the year. And just 23 years old, you know, you don't know what you're going to get right away, and it's been pretty dang good.
And that is pop foul off the bat of Tommy Pham. 3 times he has grounded out to short. The first 2 resulted into double plays. A ball and 2 strikes. Two and two. Cardinals every single inning offensively, with the exception of the ninth, had activity on the bases, walks, hits. Something was going on. The ninth inning was the first time they had gone down 1-2-3. The 2-2 check swing, and he went strikeout of Tommy Pham. And so Ollie and the crew 1 out away from a 5-0 win. Joey Votto trying to extend the ball game.
Is that Dolly Parton?
That is Dolly Parton for the walk-up music. I was just asking that.
Woo!
Good changeup. And Votto today is 0 for 3.
If I'm hitting 136, 157, I'm switching songs. Dolly's got to get more energy than Dolly right now.
What was yours? I don't remember yours.
It was just Nelly. Just whatever was current, representing the Lou.
And the 1-1.
I got to St. Louis right when Country Grammar came out, and he exploded, and I just kind of rode the wave with him.
It was fun.
It's awesome. Still a good friend today and still doing it.
Still at the ballpark a lot,
yes,
too.
He is.
Good changeup. Man, oh, man. 2-2. Lefties are 0 for 7 against Cody Whitley. And the 2-2 pitch. Votto, a ground ball. This should do it. Goldie takes it himself. It's a 5-0 win for St. Louis. They've taken the first 2 in the series, and tomorrow behind Waino, they'll look for a sweep.
Yeah, I think the story today, Dakota Hudson, I think is a great job. 1 out shy of 7 innings. Offense again, 10 hits. I mean, wow, another complete day of baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Shaping up to be a fun year. Good start. The Cardinals are 9-4. They'll wrap up this series and the road trip tomorrow. 5-0 the final.